Welcome to Walking Through Glass with your host, Dr. Dina C. Brown. Good morning to you. It is a fantastic Wednesday. It is that Wisdom Wednesday with your daily dose of Dr. Vitamin D. And as your host, I am excited to bring to you another powerful 15-minute conscious conversation to help you begin to get your day kicked off right and tight. And you can listen to the podcast episode at any time throughout the day. But when you do listen to it, know that I am sending you all the light and love and energy that you need to operate at your best levels today. So, if you did not catch yesterday's Walking Through Glass, Conscious Conversation, Daily Dose of Dr. Vitamin D, I began the conversation speaking about beliefs and those limiting beliefs that we have that have been scripted as part of our narrative that sometimes we don't even realize that we have. But the horrible part is that they actually impede us from really living our best life. And until we get into a state of awareness, or what I call consciousness, about what those things are and maybe where they've come from, then we really can't begin to deal with them. So I'm going to do a really brief recap on kind of understanding where these limiting beliefs come from and what they are. And then we're going to speak to today, again, how do we begin to shift past that? Because that's what the Lead Her Shift movement is all about, is making the shift to think differently about who we are as women and how we develop and lead. So with that being said, let's just really touch on a couple of areas of where do these limiting beliefs come from? Have you ever been in that place or that space and you're sitting there going, I don't know where I got this from. I don't know why I don't think that I'm capable. I don't understand why, the thought of being blank, scares me. Well, here's a little bit of the neuroscience behind it, because it's really a brain thing. And the way your brain is set up, which also is on, again, there's two processes. One is subconscious and one is conscious. And oftentimes it's your subconscious is where these seeds of doubt have been planted, and yet you're battling on the conscious level. And so on that subconscious level, if you never go back and rewire that and kind of pluck that weed from there, then you continue to struggle on the conscious level, and there's a disconnect. And that's where that conscious awareness has to come from, and spending that quiet time. And you think, well, my life is great, and right now I meditate, and people, I think positive, I do my affirmations. However, on that subconscious level, if you never dealt with that script that had been written on your psyche and your brain at a very early age, and here's what you have to understand is that even, some behavioral scientists will say that, and neurologists will say things like, up until the age of 7, you're in a constant state of absorption and learning mode. And during that time period, you are observing of how to act, what to say, and the things people are saying to you during that time is extremely powerful and very critical. Why? Because now you're developing what you're going to act on as you continue to grow and become more conscious, because a lot of those scripts are of a subconscious nature. That's why, as parents, it is so key that we speak life into our children, and we guard who speaks to our children. Because when we wonder and we ask the question, where did I get this from? Is it part of my DNA? Well, yes and no. It can be a part of your, neurological cellular DNA, because people have spoken things to you that unconsciously you adopted, and you never refuted that, and at a time in your life when you didn't even have the power or the awareness to do so. So that's why we talk about that sense of awareness and getting to a certain stage and place in your life where you can then begin to process through it. So where do these beliefs come from? They come from family. They come from friends. They come from situations. They come from things that you read, things that you listen to. They come from people that you've worked with. They come from teachers. All of these different types of things. And I love to share that we are products of our experiences and our understandings. And because we are products of our experiences and our understandings, that if we encounter something at a very early age, or even at the age you are now, and you're not processing it in a particular manner, then you begin to develop some beliefs about that. Whether they are positive or negative beliefs, they are true for you. So why not think positively? And I love to use the example of money. And me and my girlfriend, Nini, and she's more than a friend. She's like my sister for forever and my sister friend. We have these conversations, and I love talking to her because the expansion of our mind and the way we think is so similar. We're always, there's nothing too grand or big for us to accomplish as long as it's aligned to our purpose, right? So when we speak and I tell her, I'm on the billionaire trail, the billionaire trail. And I've been testing this really interesting concept and verbiage out on people. And I'll say, I'm on the road to the billionaire. So I know people are like, oh my gosh, 6 figures. 6 figures is attainable. Okay, I'm there. 6 figures is attainable. The people say, well, I'm going to be a millionaire. Okay, being a millionaire is attainable as well. To stretch and to see and to walk into billionaire status, that's bold. And that takes a certain type of mindset to be able to embrace that. And so I did this little test the other day. And I'm loving sharing this with you because I will say to certain people, when I'm a billionaire, and they look like, huh? And see, it tells me right away by their facial structures, and we have more conversations than that, is that the whole concept of them being a billionaire is far beyond their belief system. Far beyond their belief system. So, here's the takeaway for this, because we have to be cautious about, again, where we're deriving and who's impacting us. If I am sharing my big, bold, billionaire dreams with someone that has a $10 mindset, then there is a possibility and a strong plausibility that their fears, their anxieties, and their disbelief could impact mine. For one or two reasons. Number one, that I'm always rewiring script that was implanted in my psyche far before I was conscious of it even being an issue. And so there's triggers. And that quiet time, I don't know about you, but for me, in that quiet time, sometimes you're sitting there and you're thinking about your dreams and your wishes and the possibilities and the plausibilities and all of that. And then that little niggling doubt. Are you sure you can do that? Who's gonna, you're gonna do that by yourself? Oh, that sounds crazy. And so you wonder, well, where'd that come from? That voice, that inner bully, that inner critic, that's also aided by those outer disbelievers. So this is why when you're having conscious conversations with people, know who you're talking to, know who you're sharing with, but more importantly, be very clear about who you are. So you can be very confident in your stance of, yes, this is who I am. And then your consistent actions begin to follow. Because these limiting beliefs, they are real. But they're as real as you allow them to be in your life. And they come from situations and circumstances. But if you're always looking at the superficial, and you're not really dealing with the subconscious impact and rewiring it from that space, then you are going to struggle with bringing that dream and manifesting that purposefully aligned dream in your life. So how do you begin to get rid of, those limiting beliefs? the very first step is part of my C3 blueprint. My C3 blueprint to really begin to rewire yourself for success. Rewire your mindset for success. Starts with clarity. And under that umbrella of clarity is the piece of consciousness that has to occur. So that conscious mind and that subconscious mind have to do some work together, because it's that subconscious mind, those embedded understandings, is what feeds the conscious. Isn't that kind of powerful? So what you speak out loud, which is why it's important to speak your affirmations and speak it so that you can see it, so that you can believe it. So you can believe it. So the very first step in that clarity that you need is really beginning to write down, what are your fears? What are those limiting beliefs? What seems to scare you? What makes you so uncomfortable to think about when you're thinking about the big, bold desires that have been planted in your spirit? What makes you feel like, oh, because that's where you might need to start. And oftentimes when we're speaking to women, it's around money, even collecting money, asking for more money, placing a sense of monetary value on the services that we offer. When people ask me, what does it cost to work with you? And I share what it costs, I do so unapologetically and with extreme clarity. Whether or not they want to invest in that, that's their choice. But what I had to get past very early on was that God gave me this gift to prosper from. And although, to be honest with you, when I think about the gifts and how I support, help empower, and help women especially, but business owners really figure out creative solutions to their business challenges and help create life solutions, that's you really can't put a dollar amount on it. But I know that what I share, the catalyst, the ignition, and the things that I pour into those that I'm called to serve has value. And it took me a long time to not to cringe or then to begin to discount. I know what I've paid of something of value, and the individuals that were called to serve me were not overly concerned on whether or not I could afford it or not. If I wanted to work with them, if I wanted to have change and shift in my life, I had to believe different. I had to think different. I had to act differently. And that starts with your belief systems. So, as we continue this conversation this month, I think I'm going to spend a little bit more time this month in June with these daily doses of Dr. Vitamin D, with really dealing with that conscious awareness tied to our belief systems. And I started a series before called As a Woman Leadeth. And at that time, and all full transparency, I started it, but I was at a place that the consistent action needed to continue in that vein was not there. And I'm doing a current study on As a Man Thinketh, which is my favorite book. I carry it around. I share with everyone. And when I talk about alignment and timing and universal laws and alignment, I find that when I go back to maybe 2 months or so ago, that I was actually launching a study on As a Man Thinketh that I didn't continue. I started a couple pieces, but I didn't blow it all out. And I thought, wait a minute. You know what? I realized that mindset-wise, I was in a different place, and I needed some shifts as well. Well, honey, I am so ready to fully launch the study on As a Man Thinketh from our perspective as women, with a deeper understanding of what it means and the lives that we can impact. And so please stay tuned as I begin to share. And I'm not even just going to share it on the Daily Dose of Dr. Vitamin D because it's a little bit longer. I am going to share it on my YouTube channel. So if you want to be a part of this study, you definitely want to tune in, and I'm going to make sure that I put the information in and that you stay tuned and you listen to your daily doses of Dr. Vitamin D on Walking Through Glass, the podcast, to really get this deeper understanding, because it really does start with the mind. Your belief systems that you have, they've started long before the now. And if you're going to live your very best life today, you're going to have to begin to deal with all of the yesterdays, what I call the phantom limbs that were embedded in your spirit. And guess what? We can do it together. And I invite you to join me. I invite you to bring a friend. I invite you to begin to make the shift, the leader shift, and to be unapologetic about your growth, unapologetic about your dreams, unapologetic about operating and walking in your purpose, unapologetic for wanting the best for you and loving yourself on purpose with purpose. Because when you love yourself on purpose with purpose, then you are able and fully, when I say fully, I'm going to say it one more time, fully able to give the very best of you to others. And before I go today, I want to share with you my mantra. And I think I'm going to start posting these great mantras on my Instagram. So definitely follow at Lead Her Shift Movement on Instagram and at Dr. Dina Speaks, as well as catching Walking Through Glass, the podcast on iTunes, Stitcher, Spotify, Google Music Play, Apple Podcasts, and on my very own YouTube channel. But here's what I've been sharing. And this has been so impactful for the few women that I shared it with recently. Okay? Are you ready? Here's what I say. In the times where those limiting beliefs, when daily situations began to, bear down on me, and when life is not looking like I need it to look, here's what I say. I know who I am. I know what I want. I know who and how I am called to serve. That's it. I know who I am. I know what I want. I know who and how I am called to serve. And when I begin to say that, and when I began to use those very specific words, I tell you, shift happens. And so I gift those words to you. And I ask you to gift these words to someone else who needs this in their life to make the shifts, to live their very best life today. Because what is our ultimate purpose and goal and reason for being? Well, for mine is to be happy, to be truly, internally, externally happy. And I'd like for you to join me. So, thank you for listening today to your daily dose of Dr. Vitamin D. And please make sure you share it with a friend. Thank you. Have an amazing Wednesday. And I look forward to you joining me tomorrow for your daily dose of Dr. Vitamin D as we continue to talk about our beliefs and we learn another way, another opportunity for us to begin to shift and move and get rid of those limiting beliefs. So have a fantastic Wednesday, and remember, share with a friend. Bye-bye.